Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Dr. Cheryl Wyrick, Associate Dean of the College of Business Administration. The March of the Candidates will begin shortly. The processional will be led by Mace Bearer and the Julian A. McPhee Honor Award recipient. Next, master's degree candidates will march, followed by bachelor degree candidates who will march according to their concentration. The processional will conclude with the entrance of the President's Party. I will announce the entrance of each degree program as they enter. The processional for the College of Business Administration begins. Candidates for the Master of Business Administration and Master of Science in Business Administration degrees. Faculty and candidates of e-business. faculty and candidates of technology and operations management. Faculty and candidates of finance, real estate, and law. Faculty and candidates of computer information systems. faculty and candidates of accounting. Faculty and candidates of international business. Faculty and candidates of marketing management. faculty and candidates of management and human resources. Ladies and gentlemen, Dean Lapidus, President Ortiz, and party. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Please rise as student Carlos Cardenas performs the national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
I'd like to thank Carlos for his performance. Please be seated.
Good morning. What a great looking group out there. You must be College of Business graduates. My name is Rich Lapidus, and it's my privilege to serve as the Dean of the College of Business Administration. I'd like to welcome you to our commencement exercises. Let's hear it again for the class of 2014. On behalf of faculty, staff, and students of the college, I offer congratulations to our graduates and a special welcome to their families and friends who join us here today. It now gives me great pleasure to recognize the distinguished members of the platform party. I ask that each of them stand as I read their names, but please hold your applause until they've all been introduced. Ms. Michelle Stoddard, Vice President of University Advancement. Dr. Doug Freer, Vice President for Student Affairs. Dr. Larissa Pricer-Hoy, Associate Dean. Dr. Philip Ghazenfari, Mace Bearer. Mr. John McGuthrie, Vice President for Information Technology and Chief Information Officer. Dr. Stephen Garcia, Vice President for Administrative Affairs and Chief Financial Officer. Dr. Naza Hadiat, Chair of the Accounting Department. Dr. Dan Manson, Chair of the Computer Information Systems Department. Dr. Shadi Koldi, Chair of the Finance, Real Estate, and Law Department. Dr. Deborah Whitson, Interim Chair of the International Business and Marketing Department. Dr. Jean Alvarez, Chair of the Management and Human Resources Department. Dr. Hassan Haladi, Chair of the Technology and Operations Management Department. Dr. Greg Carlton, Computer Information Systems Professor. Dr. Majid Mutasib, Finance Professor. Dr. Martin Dembore, Provost and Vice President for Academic Affairs. Dr. Steve Sapanik, CSU Trustee. Mr. Ron Gregoire, Honorary Doctorate Recipient. Dr. J. Michael Ortiz, President of Cal Poly Pomona. Dr. Cheryl Wyrick, Associate Dean. Joy Chang, McPhee Award recipient. Aisha Razek, Senior Class Gift Presenter. Thank you all for being with us today. I'd also like to introduce Betty Ortiz, our First Lady and wife of President J. Michael Ortiz. Ms. Sue Gilliland, Executive Assistant to the President. And Sylvia Gregoire, wife of today's guest of honor, Ron Gregoire. Thank you all for joining us today. At this point, it's customary for me to introduce President Ortiz. This is a bittersweet moment for Cal Poly Pomona community, as this will be his last College of Business ceremony with us. President, on behalf of everyone in the College of Business Administration, thank you for your leadership, your stewardship of academic excellence, and your unwavering commitment to student success. You've truly made the campus a better place.
Thank you, Dean Lapidus. Commencement. It's the moment our graduates and their families have worked toward for years. I earned my bachelor's degree nearly 44 years ago, and I remember that moment like it was yesterday. Put down your phones and programs and take it in. You did it. Your college experience doesn't end today. The lessons you've learned, the friends you've made, and the challenges you've overcome will carry you throughout your lifetime. Stay connected, stay informed, and stay involved. And one way you can do that with Cal Poly Pomona is by joining the Alumni Association. I'm retiring this December, as Dean Lapidus said, and so that I'm part of the class of 2014 as well. I have learned that you can never reach a new high point in your life alone. For me, I have relied on my wife, Betty Fay, to be a partner and friend through all our highs and lows. At Cal Poly Pomona, I have relied on the expertise of countless people. That includes the great faculty and staff on this campus and the people like Sandy Davis, who's recently retired as the executive assistant and who has worked for 4 of the 5 university presidents. Commencement is made possible because of people like Teresa Navarro Rodriguez and Diane Carter and their dedicated team who put this commencement event together. Now I want you to think back to your experience. You did not arrive at this point by accident. Through dedication and hard work, you have reached this pinnacle. But remember, no one has ever completed this journey alone. Many people, including professors and loved ones, have traveled with you and helped you along the way. How did they guide you, support you, encourage you? Graduates, please join me in recognizing the special people in your life by standing and giving them a well-deserved round of applause. Class of 2014, as you move on to graduate school or the workforce, head out with confidence. Cal Poly Pomona graduates have an edge. Your classroom experiences actually involve solving real-world problems. You have studied under experienced faculty, and you have been immersed in one of the most diverse campuses in the nation. You don't just understand diversity, you've lived it. Know that the investment you made in your education will pay off many times over. In 2014 College Return on Investment Report, Cal Poly Pomona ranked 74th out of 1,300 colleges and universities. That puts us in the top 6% in the country. We are a regional powerhouse. Payscale.com found our return on investment stronger than local universities like USC and UCLA, and in fact, we placed better than all of the UC campuses except Berkeley and San Diego. But you didn't pay that UC tuition, did you? Or the high price cost of a private college education. Did you know you didn't pay the full cost of your education? California taxpayers and university donors supported your education. At the end of this month, we will close the campaign for Cal Poly Pomona donors have given us more than $150 million in gifts, pledges, and bequests to keep our university at the cutting edge. But do you know why they would give so much to Cal Poly Pomona? It's because they believe in you. They believe in your potential to succeed in the workforce and contribute to the greater good. Years from now, there will come a time in your life when you'll look back on your career and marvel at your good fortune. Remember those who invested in you, and consider paying it forward so that you too can pave the way for future generations. Today is your day. You have completed one of the most important journeys of your lifetime. As you consider your next steps, I urge you to head out with confidence. Seize the opportunities before you, because you have never been more ready. Congratulations.
Thank you, President Ortiz. We have so many incredible students in this college who every day enrich the campus life of our institution. As Dean of the college, students often stop and thank me for supporting something they're working on or to share a story. They tell me that they appreciate me for sharing my time with them because it makes them feel important and provide confirmation that they can somehow make a difference. However, I find that students so often tend to view the benefits of our interaction as one-directional. But I'm here to tell you that they have it wrong, because these student interactions show me that I can make a difference and can learn valuable lessons from them. I would like to share with you this morning 3 student stories that celebrate the unyielding spirit of purpose that is the College of Business student body. When Jia Lee Wu first walked onto campus, she was the first in her family to attend college and found herself filled with uncertainty. She had recently failed her high school calculus class just as she decided she wanted to study business. As every graduate here can attest, there is no escaping calculus for business majors. Fortunately, she found support at the university's Educational Opportunity Program. Gia's peer mentor and a math tutor became her biggest cheerleaders her first year in college and worked tirelessly with her. Her determination paid off as she earned high marks in her business calculus and statistics classes. She worked so hard on math that the most unlikely thing happened. She found herself enjoying it. Eventually, she switched her concentration from management to finance, added an economics minor, and took optional courses reserved for math and engineering majors. Now, Gia plays the role of the mentor as an EOP tutor who encourages students to believe in themselves, pushing them to reach their potential. Today, she is graduating with honors and hopes to obtain a master's degree in financial engineering. Gia, if you would please stand. Too many of us run away with our failures, and in the pursuit of perfection, don't acknowledge our shortcomings. Your determination to succeed inspires us. Thank you. Alan Teeter never cared much for school. His grades were decent in high school, mostly B's and C's, but it was the amount of time Alan devoted to getting average grades that frustrated him. His classmates appeared to put in less work and received higher marks. So after Alan received his diploma in the 1970s, he left the books behind and worked for the next 30 years as a carpenter and later as a truck driver. Then came the moment that changed Alan's life. His mother was diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease that was progressively and rapidly growing, and she asked Alan to care for her. To fulfill her wishes, Alan quit his job and moved his wife and 3 children into his childhood home. Alan dutifully tended to his mother, but friends encouraged him to get out of the house and suggested that he go back to school. Remembering how much he disliked school, Alan was wary of taking classes. An A in a community college class boosted his confidence, but then Alan struggled so much in the next class that his instructor asked him if he had ever been tested for dyslexia. It turns out Alan has dyslexia. All those years of struggle and frustration back in high school weren't imagined, they were real. Caring instructors worked with him and taught him new ways to learn. Not only did Alan survive academia, but he excelled in it and is graduating today with honors. Alan, if you would please stand. I know this is a bittersweet moment for you as your mother is unable to be here today, but I know that she would be very proud of you. Thank you for showing us that it's never too late to pursue your dreams. Living in Colombia, Geraldine Reyes and her mother struggled to make ends meet. Geraldine thought her fortunes had changed in 2007 when she and her mother were granted visas. She thought her mother would easily find a job and both would learn English in just a few months. That may be the way the American dream is sold around the world, but for better or for worse, it's not the reality. Geraldine's mother struggled to find a well-paying job given her limited fluency in English, and they struggled with living arrangements. Geraldine went from being at the top of her class in Colombia to a lost student in Pomona's public schools, struggling to cross the language barrier with her teachers. Nothing was going as planned, and Geraldine's mother made a decision that would change the rest of their lives. She surrendered her parental rights and made Geraldine a ward of the court. It was a desperate move to improve the stability and security in Geraldine's life. Some parents may consider the move unthinkable, but Geraldine considers it the ultimate sacrifice from a loving mother. But Geraldine's station in life did not improve in the foster care system. She lived with 3 different foster care families, including one caregiver who recklessly caused a car crash that left Geraldine with a head wound requiring 14 stitches. Yet throughout the turmoil in her personal life, Geraldine never lost focus on her education. She came to this country to have a better life, and she was going to use all of her will and determination to make it a reality. She attended community college, then transferred to Cal Poly Pomona, and joined the Renaissance Scholars Program that helps foster youth succeed in college. She's now a peer mentor to other foster youth and has nearly a 3.0 GPA, all while holding down multiple part-time jobs. In just 6 years, Geraldine has become fluent in English and earned her bachelor's degree in finance. She arrived in this country with only 2 suitcases, and now she has enough belongings to fill her own place. And that is the American dream. Geraldine, if you would please rise. Geraldine, you've taught us that the American dream, although not easy, is still achievable. Thank you very much. I chose these student stories because I think they exhibit some of the finest human traits. I hope that you will remember the traits of determination, resilience, courage, and compassion, as I know that you will need them at various points in your life. Each of you has a dream. Hold on to that dream no matter what critics might say. Don't confuse what is with what can be, as the world is full of limitless possibilities that often reveals that today's dreamers are the realists of tomorrow. John Lennon wrote that life is what happens when you're making plans. Sometimes life is not easy, and the unexpected will turn your world upside down. There will be points in your life when you encounter disappointment, failure, and loss. There will be times when you're confronted with difficult choices, and the path less traveled is the direction that's calling you. Be resilient and demonstrate courage, because these are the moments that might very well define your character. I encourage you to practice compassion. Make sure that you make a difference in the lives of others and take care of those that surround you, because they often look to you to look out for them. There is no greater satisfaction than knowing that you've helped someone else. There's an old proverb that says, there is a choice you have to make in everything you do. However, you must always keep in mind that the choices you make ultimately make you. I know that each of you will make good choices. Congratulations and good luck, class of 2014. Now I would like to introduce Aisha Razik, who will present the senior class gift to President Ortiz.
President Ortiz, Dean Lapidus, members of the stage party, and fellow members of the class of 2014. Every year, the graduating class leaves behind something for the campus community. It's about leaving the university better than when it was when we first got here. This tradition succeeds every year because of another tradition at Cal Poly Pomona, philanthropy. The senior class gift is entirely funded by donations from graduating seniors. This is truly a gift from us to future students. Our gift will be to purchase and install electronic charging stations throughout campus study and gathering places. These stations will charge cell phones, tablets, e-readers, and even laptops. President Ortiz, I am honored to present this gift from the class of 2014.
Aisha, thank you so much. Class of 2014, I never thought that people would donate electric power. Can you believe that? 11 years, and now we're needing more power to run this campus. I guarantee you, based upon what I've seen, the future students at Cal Poly Pomona are really going to take advantage of that. Thank you, class of 2014.
It now gives me great pleasure to honor students who have shown remarkable commitment to their studies at Cal Poly Pomona and received high marks for their efforts. This year we have 99 students who have GPAs of 3.5 or higher and are graduating with cum laude, magna cum laude, and summa cum laude honors. Please join me in recognizing all of their hard work. Out of so many exceptional students, one immediately stands out for her academic excellence. Accounting student Crystal Wickland has been named the class valedictorian with a GPA of 3.98. Unfortunately, Crystal could not be with us today, but we still would like to applaud her success. There is another student the college would like to recognize, and that is the recipient of the Julian A. McPhee Honor Award for Student Excellence. The award is named after the founding president of Cal Poly Pomona and Cal Poly San Luis Obispo, and it is awarded to a student who has an exemplary academic record and who is actively involved on campus and is committed to bettering the community. It is now my pleasure to present the McPhee Award to Joy Chang, a student from the Finance, Real Estate, and Law Department. President Ortiz, would you join us at the podium to present Joy with the Julian McPhee Award? Commendation for you as well.
President Ortiz, Dean Lapidus, distinguished faculties, families, and fellow graduates, good morning. It's an honor to be up here today speaking as the McPhee Scholar. Frederick Douglass once said, "If there is no struggle, there is no progress." I am sure we can all attest to the validity of this statement through our own struggles, whether it's managing school, work, or family-related issues. It is because of these obstacles that life throws at us. We have become stronger and more intelligent individuals. Today, as we gather with family, friends, and faculty to commemorate our college experience, let's reflect on how college has changed us and what we can do with experience and knowledge we have gained to better the world and our communities. Life after college should not be about focusing solely on career, but using this degree to do something positive, no matter what our majors or our aspirations are, whether it's finance, law, or academia. We must not focus only on selfish pursuit, but challenge ourselves to be civically engaged in our communities. For life is not important, except the impact it has on others' lives. We must remember that as individuals, we have the power to change the world. And if we want a better tomorrow, we need to start exercising our rights today. Our education has empowered us to be in a better position to create a just society. Before we embark on our journey to the real world, we must acknowledge those who help us make our college experience possible, because I definitely would not be here today without their support. I wanted to give special thanks to my mother, who's been my biggest social support throughout my life, thanking her for being such a great role model for me, and always believing in me and my dreams. I would also like to thank my mentors, Dr. Adams, Robin Manchega, the faculty of Kellogg Honors College, and everyone at Cal Poly Pomona for enriching my college experience and always being there for me, wherever I needed advice, whether it was about academia or life. I am sure every single one of you sitting here today has someone like that in your life. Parents, families, friends, and mentors, we take this moment to thank you. We ask that you continue to support us as we embark on our future endeavors. Lastly, congratulations, class of 2014. We made it. I wish you the best of success, and I hope you will continue to grow as leaders, innovators, and lifelong learners, and continue to do great philanthropic work in the future. May God bless you.
Thank you, Joy. It is now my pleasure to introduce Trustee Stephen Stepanek, member of the California State Board of Trustees. We're certainly happy to have you here with us today, Trustee Stepanek.
Thank you. Thank you, Dean Lapidus. It's a pleasure for me to be here and to bring greetings to all of you from the California State University. I extend congratulations to all the graduates of the College of Business Administration. As citizens and future alumni of the California State University, I encourage you all to continue to support the university and its mission. Help keep the doors of opportunity open to those students who follow in your footsteps. You will soon learn the real benefits of earning the degree from California State University as you go forward in the workplace. This workplace depends so greatly on the 10,000 well-prepared CSU graduates that will become their employees this year. Be proud that you are joining more than 3 million CSU alums as you cross the stage. As a CSU graduate and member of your community, continue to support the CSU by helping those in need and to let them know how to get to college. Show them the road ahead and how earning a college degree can be the most important step towards a brighter future. Finally, as a graduate of the CSU, be an ambassador for our system. Let your friends, colleagues, legislators, and community know how important the CSU has been to you and how they can join you in supporting the California State University. Again, congratulations and best wishes to all of you. I now have the pleasure to introduce our guest of honor, Ronald W. Gregar, who is the embodiment of the American dream. He grew up in a solidly blue-collar family, enrolled at Cal Poly Pomona, put himself through college, parlayed an internship into a full-time job, developed formidable skills as a certified public accountant, and then seized the opportunity to become an entrepreneur in the automotive world. He teetered between success and failure at his first dealership before distinguishing himself amongst his peers through hard work and ingenuity. Mr. Gregar is a role model not only for new college graduates and aspiring entrepreneurs, but for everyone who seeks to blend career fulfillment and community involvement. He cultivates a lifestyle of helping others, adhering to a belief that doing well also means doing good. Quoting him, he is a believer, I'm a believer in what life has been good. Let me try that again. Quoting him, I'm a believer that if life has been good to you, you have an obligation to give back. For years, his auto dealership provided vans to the Los Angeles Police Department for its community youth services program, and he steadfastly has assisted college support, cancer support organizations and youth athletic leagues. At the pinnacle of his professional success, he decided to change careers, trading in his car dealership for a job that required significant responsibilities but not one penny of income. His new title, philanthropist. In retirement, Mr. Gregar has become a major supporter of the arts, lending his time, treasure, and talent to McCollin Theater in Palm Desert. His commitment to helping others is also manifest in his support of his alma mater, where he has served on numerous advisory councils, helped lead the university's major fundraising activities, and stepped up as the lead donor for a new 3-building complex in the College of Business Administration. Ron is one of those individuals who quietly makes a huge difference. This is a quote from President Ortiz. He leads by example and gets things done. In recognition of his accomplishments as a businessman and philanthropist, the Board of Trustees of the California State University and California State Polytechnic University, Pomona are proud to confer upon Ronald W. Gregar the honorary degree of Doctor of Humane Letters. Congratulations.
Thank you, Dr. Ortiz, members of the State University Board of Trustees, faculty, family, friends, and the graduating class of 2014. And thank you, Trustee Stepanek, for the very kind introduction. I am truly blessed and humbled by this tribute. You know, some very special moments or events in our life become imprinted on our mind. You know, things like earning your first college degree here at Cal Poly, the birth of your first child, maybe buying your first new car, or starting that new business you've always imagined as a kid. For me, receiving this honorary doctorate is certainly one of those moments that I'll never forget in my lifetime. I'm truly grateful for the education and the guidance I received from this university. The Polytechnic style of teaching, as Dr. Ortiz explained earlier, that constant learning by doing we all experienced here as graduates of Cal Poly is what makes an education here at Cal Poly so special and worthwhile. Take it from me, a Cal Poly degree provides you with an advantage over graduates from other universities. While you are here, you're always involved in problem solving and hands-on projects. Because of this style of education, you are better prepared to hit the ground running than most grads from other universities. I assure you that you will be a valuable employee, a more valuable asset to your employer in the first year of your employment than most grads from other universities. When I was preparing my remarks for today, I thought about sharing many of the things that I had done that made me successful. But after listing the steps I took, the risks that I had taken, and the many career changes I had made, I soon recognized not much that I did would apply directly to you. It struck me that the words to a very famous song written by Paul Anka and made truly famous by Frank Sinatra said it all. I did it my way. And I trust that you will all find a way to become successful your way. What I would like to share with you today are a few very important principles that you probably didn't learn here in the classroom. Following these principles, I promise you, will help achieving success a little easier. 1, never stop learning and growing. Don't become complacent. 2, take care of the little things. If you don't do the little things well, you'll never do the big things well in life either. Always be prepared to accept change, especially in the technology area. Lord knows if the VA had understood that and accepted change, they wouldn't be in the mess they are today either. If they were a private enterprise, Lord knows they would have been bankrupt years ago. Work hard, especially the first years of your career. Bosses are always impressed with hard-working, aggressive employees. Lazy employees go nowhere. Life is full of hard work. There is a sense of accomplishment, pride, and joy that comes with hard work. As you move into management positions, surround yourself with people that are smarter than you are. I promise you, they'll challenge you and they'll force you to grow. And during the first few years of your career, do what most people don't do. Save as much money as you can. It is so important that you are financially prepared to take advantage of opportunities when they present themselves. And don't be afraid to take calculated risk. I said calculated risks, not wild and foolish risks. As business students, you're better prepared to analyze those risks than most other graduates. Be prepared to make career changes, 1 or 2 of them if necessary, maybe 3. Often your best financial opportunities come with a career change. I know it's certainly happened to me. And nurture good, strong relationships throughout your career. You never know when one of those people that you meet may become your next partner or investor in that business you always wanted to start. And finally, never accept the status quo. Push yourself and your staff to always come up with new ideas. They often lead to business growth, but at the very least, they'll lead to cost savings, making your business more profitable. I followed these steps throughout my career, and I encourage you to do the same. A final thought. I was often told by friends and colleagues, my God, Gregoire, you're awfully lucky in business. Most everything you do in business turns out well. Well, a very wise boss early in my accounting career told me there's no such thing as luck. Luck is simply the crossroads where opportunity and preparation meet. So graduates, stay prepared and keep your eyes open to opportunity. Do what all successful people do. Make your own luck. Thank you all, and my best wishes to the class of 2014 for a very successful career.
Ron, thank you for doing it your way. Now I'd like to call upon Provost and Vice President for Academic Affairs, Dr. Martin Denboer, to present the candidates for master's degrees.
Will the candidates for the degree of Master of Business Administration and Master of Science in Business Administration please rise? President Ortiz, I present to you the candidates for the degree of Master of Business Administration and Master of Science in Business Administration. These candidates have completed the requirements for each of these degrees as prescribed by the State of California and the trustees of the California State University, and they have been recommended by the faculty of California State Polytechnic University, Pomona.
Candidates for the master's degree. You have heard the recommendation of the faculty of California State Polytechnic University, Pomona. By the authority vested in me as president, I confer upon you the degree of Master of Business Administration and Master of Sciences in Business Administration with all the rights, honors, and opportunities appertaining thereto. Congratulations. Please be seated.
Doctors Greg Carlton, Majid Mutasib, Kevin Moncrief will assist me in the hooding and awarding diplomas for the graduate business programs.
Jonathan Brendan Lee. Kirsty A. Choza. Harumi Owen.
Abdelati Creamy.
Paul Fudao Yuan. Bruce Michael Wong. Toby West.
Deanna Lynn Ellis.
Victoria Pham.
Raquel Favela.
Ryan Bigelow. Jacob John Moore.
Katrina Marie Presto.
Ruma Siddiqui.
Joseph Wijaya. Alexis Dialde Salas.
Nasha Caldwell. Tracy Lynn Dean.
Tamna Sharma.
Judy Jake.
Brenda Denise Pruden. Charles C. Shin. Brian James Walker. Yingmei Zhu. Yu Pei. Yenpo Kiang.
Sorry. Okay. Okay, we will now beginning the awarding of undergraduate degrees. Will the candidates for the degree Bachelor of Science in Business Administration please rise? President Ortiz, I present to you the candidates for the baccalaureate degree from the College of Business Administration. These candidates have completed the requirements for the baccalaureate degree as prescribed by the state of California and the trustees of the California State University, and they have been recommended for their degrees by the faculty of the California State Polytechnic University, Pomona.
Candidates for the baccalaureate degree. You have heard the recommendation of the faculty of California State Polytechnic University, Pomona. By the authority vested in me as president, I confer upon you the degree of Bachelor of Science in Business Administration with all the rights, honors, and opportunities appertaining thereto. Congratulations. In academic tradition, the student who has not yet earned a degree wears the tassel on the mortarboard on the right side. When the degree is conferred, the scholar moves the tassel to the left and joins a select company. In recognition of your new status, will each recipient of the baccalaureate degree please move the tassel to the left? Congratulations.
Ushers, please escort the candidates from e-business and technology and operations management. Candidates from other departments, please remain seated until directed by the ushers. Guests, please also remain seated until the ceremony is over. Undergraduates, are you ready?
Jasmine Emily Barrow-Whedon. Somi Kang. Robert John Liedelmeyer. Michael Dang. Kenny Deep. James Alexander Watson II. Kelvin Yang. Ronald Wayne Lee. This concludes the degree conferral for e-business. We will now begin the degree conferral for technology and operations management.
David Evan Kindorf.
Cindy Noemi Barrera.
Brendan Kyle Lukabaugh.
Anna Laura King.
Tyler Toichi Matsumoto.
Kimberly Nicole Burt.
Fuang Win, cum laude.
Jung Jin Kim. Amy Pham.
David Chen. Anthony Richard Lazarus, cum laude.
Danya Ghazi.
Jason Robert Kennedy.
Sue Pin Sandy Wang.
Jason Wynn.
Nathan Daniel Medina.
Aaron Tyler Bate.
Lindsay Renee Pike.
Yvette Marie Baker, magna cum laude.
Mohammed Atim Alhawene, summa cum laude.
Thao Mai.
Samuel Joseph Medina.
Delaney Nicole Bashaw, cum laude.
Eric Ledesma.
Tanisha Rose Relf, summa cum laude.
Jonathan Dewey Tran.
Sarah Shigley.
Brian Dale Dooley.
Ramon Sanchez III.
Greg Azula.
Derek Allen Donaldson.
Wen Jun Fang.
Chad Robert Garland, cum laude.
Christopher Zalifian.
Kevin Michael Young.
Vartran Najarian.
Alexander Tran.
Eduardo Hernandez Kalich.
Richard Paul Padilla.
Raphael Angel Naives.
Shifeng Andy Lin.
This concludes the degree conferral for Technology and Operations Management.
Christian Franco Dominguez.
We will now begin the degree conferral for Finance, Real Estate, and Law.
Nicholas Baltazar Villalba. Joseph Anthony Perez. Jonathan Daniel Silva. Victor Pereda Medeiros. Bradley Allen Westbrook. Denise Marie Quintanilla.
Avadiz Garabedian.
Erica Vanessa Baños Soria.
Camille Don Schneider, summa cum laude.
Rafif Al Adib. James Matthew Andrews. Francisco Jimenez.
Samaray Nikokir.
Donald Edward Walter.
Nicole Suzanne Newberian. Chris J. Berghauser.
Andrew Robert Todd.
Stephen Everett Saunders.
Michael Nam.
Michael James Silva. Kenji Watanabe.
Timothy Mark Tannenbaum.
Shia Ashton Turan.
Brian Ramirez.
Michelle Liu.
Luis Chavez.
Christopher James Hensel.
David Ochoa.
Jonathan Henoch Mogus.
Adrian Solis Delgado.
Michael Allen Pedro Carter.
Daisy Esquadra.
Brian Taylor.
Maritza Peñalosa.
Lorraine Delatorre.
Michael Torres.
Jennifer Aguirre.
Charles Luxatter Ellingson.
George Moses Setawan.
Damian Alexander Brinicoli. Charles Gregory Shobe.
Bilal Abdulmajid Azam.
Javier Yair Camacho.
John Robert Huggins.
Efren Beltiton.
Joel Conrad Butzlaff.
Hector Camacho, cum laude.
John Carmen Marty.
Elizabeth Accardi Roper.
James Robert Torres.
Vincent Charles Beard Jr.
Charles J. Pacheco.
Gino Anthony Furiani.
Steve Kyung-hin Kim.
Dante Michael Dolphin.
Angel Huang.
David Cho.
Crystal Davina Laura.
Philip James Reamer.
Julian Uribe.
Con Van Doe.
Ryan Scott Hadji.
Damon He.
Christopher Dingyao Lee.
Sang Feng Liu.
Elwin John Sotinko. Corey Joshua Rowe.
Lynn Lee.
Paul Giovanni Robles.
Lena Chen.
Jonathan Deep.
Sophia Jin.
Jiali Wu, cum laude, President Council Scholar.
Stephanie Shunru Hu.
Michael Anthony Levette.
Devin Bo Peng.
Patrick Peter Akopkins.
Owen Zen.
Joseph Alexander Tiana. Matthew Christopher Yamamoto.
Elvia Aguilar.
Han Nak Vo.
Jaskaran Budwal.
Danny Lack.
Aisha Ruzak, Kellogg Honors.
Kevin Vong.
Joy Yin Chang, magna cum laude, President's Council Scholar, Kellogg Honors.
Amador Galvan Suarez. Jordan Michael Gonzalez. Timothy John Mellinson Jr. Kathy Mary Perez. Winnie Yon. Kachun Luk. Kevin Ulysses Rubio. Ruben Robles. Luisa Fernanda Moreno. Karen Geraldine Reyes. Gabriel Ray Mendez. Thomas Ray Trejo. Katrina Lee. Gregory Ernesto Lomelin. Michael Flores Jr. Sonny Bak Tan. Roberto Daniel Renteria. This concludes the degree conferral for Finance, Real Estate, and Law. We will now begin the degree conferral for Computer Information Systems.
Zachary M. Kingston.
Kevin Michael Seminara.
Neil Girish Mehta.
Patricia Jose Salpides. Suri Costa, magna cum laude, Kellogg Honors Scholar. Jonathan Min Tran.
Graciela Zacarias.
Danny Ma.
Dylan Keller Hasselquist.
Edward J. Sison Chua, summa cum laude, President Council Scholar.
Robert Carlos Tolosa.
Sam Tran.
Tyler Anthony Kleizo.
Lyric Ying Liang.
Apollo Alexi Merlin Dransfield.
Andrew Jiang.
Jose Ignacio Morales.
Evan Richard Kukis.
Andrew Lee.
Jay Win Lee.
Marco Antonio Velasquez Jr. Kyle Tang, cum laude.
Cao Wen Dao.
Audrey Liza Mendez.
Victor Meza.
Kyle Shubin.
Syed Omar Husani.
Richard Sun.
Asim Khan.
Isis Tan Ong, summa cum laude.
Garcella Luciana Driver.
Sherwin Elvis Erbina.
Claudia Maria Juarez.
Brian Edward Bajorkis.
Kathy Surya.
Natalie Marie Garcia.
Jose Hugo Valentines.
Kristen Alwyn Valdez.
Gustavo Cortez.
Charles Ankang Win.
David Jimenez.
Vusan Tran.
Mario Escalante III.
Kevin Schneider.
Omar Garcia, cum laude.
Jason Lee Jones.
Kyle Anthony Kinnear.
Adam Michael Alcocer.
Aaron Shum.
Robert Anthony Davis.
Byron Lee Bergman.
Anthony Treviso.
Andrew Tree Hogovan.
Justin Rudolph Alley. David King Lee. Robert Quach.
Chaturanga Udesh Gapatrias.
Justin Robert Hurley. Jeffrey James Fredericks.
Naveen De Silva Wicamarante.
Vincent Angelo Herrera.
Michael Mejia.
Seth Thomas Barriel.
Fong Kim Ha. Kong Van Ho, cum laude. Carrie Allen Crosby.
Enrique Yanez.
Joseph Ton Wynn.
Michelle Renee Gonzalez de Castro.
William Kwan.
Michael Anthony Machado.
Gurpreet Singh Dillon, cum laude.
Matthew Ryan Plotzik.
Tomas Rico.
Edward Hartono Pan.
Edward Brandon David Jimenez.
Penny Wing Si Poon, cum laude.
Ruben Serrano.
Peter Che.
Cynthia Marlene Luna.
Renee Carmina Magtira Laxon.
Rudy A. Guevara.
Eric Thomas Chow, cum laude.
Jason Robert Landeros.
Christopher Matthew Yee.
Jeffrey Joshua Helmuth.
Tina Luong.
Jason Chow.
Nelson Arturo Tena.
Oscar Wu.
Brian Nicholas Berg.
Jacob Lee Vu.
Richard A. Montoya, cum laude.
Paul Chun.
Leonardo Adamo Salamone.
Jennifer Runn.
Daniel Chacon.
Robert Charles Weathers.
Mark Endab. David Lloyd Hughes, cum laude.
Shailin Shah.
Willen Liu. Robin Kim.
Davel Shaw.
Martin Legaspi. David Fong.
Bhavya Agarwal.
Haile. Shigam Haile.
Koshal Shroff.
Jordan Yu. Michael Hugo Carrera.
This concludes the degree conferral for Computer Information Systems. We will now begin the degree conferral for Management and Human Resources.
Sevag Edward Orishian. Cheryl Lynn Gottenboss. Jessica Lopez.
Did they say accounting? No, it said human resources. Oh my. I thought they said accounting over there.
Okay. Tom Matthew Castillo.
No, we need to say it.
This is the degree conferral for accounting. Juan Jose Gabuardi.
Mariela Natalia Paredes.
Danielle Nicole Myers.
Nicole Villafranco Reyes.
Crystal Ann Zamora.
Elena Raquel Lucero.
Robab Fatima Hussein.
Sarah Ann Browning.
Jared Ray Asuncion.
Mia Paula Simpaco Norela.
Jeff Priester.
Anthony Miao.
Matthew Young.
Hirsi Farah Mohammed.
Peng Cheng Yao, cum laude.
Mohammed Yassin Suleiman.
Jose Manuel Viegas.
Philip Del Rio Sales II.
Cambis Charvini.
Nini Wu.
Matthew Ratanasanapol.
George Edward Acevedo.
Gabriela Diaz Vargas.
Zi Wang Soon, magna cum laude.
Michelle Christine Espinosa.
David Chang.
Magdalena V. Gutierrez.
Ron Lee Chacon II.
Alexandra Lee Ashford, magna cum laude.
Carlo Miguel Tan.
Toria Christine Howard.
Michelle Ponpradith.
Enrique Mares. Melissa Ray Silos.
Patrick Tiratira.
Marilyn Jamineth Madrigal.
Aldrich Manlutak.
Ye Fang.
Mansour Syed Ahmed.
Hil Huai Tam.
Diana Lopez.
B.C. Lee.
Daisy Hernandez.
Yang Ten Zhao.
Jose Alberto Carrillo.
Joseph William Cheek, magna cum laude.
Shisheng Zhang, magna cum laude.
Gloria Martinez.
Jacqueline Danielle Briggs, magna cum laude.
Maria Montserrat Trujillo.
Carly Joe Stephenson, cum laude.
Gisela Flores.
J. Pil Shin, summa cum laude.
Martin Miguel Ortiz.
Janet Duong.
Alejandro Esteban Cuevas.
Richard
William Torico. Michael Lawrence Tan. Fiona Heiwa Tao.
Kevin Su.
Valerie Torres.
Eva Fan.
Ashley Nicole McBride.
Kimberly Cam Fan.
Janice Alejandra Guyton.
Conrad Martin Getch.
Angela Liu.
Cesar Marius Manjarez, cum laude.
He Lee.
Jose Aleman.
Zhen Jiang.
Thomas Michael Dittman, summa cum laude.
Aurora Abigail Cabeza.
Richard Lau.
Natalie Gutierrez.
Nicholas Ian Foley.
Maricela Jasmine Zermeno, summa cum laude, Kellogg Honors. Michael Devin Lee.
Sergio Jesus Avalos.
Luis Angel Romo.
Marisol Mercado Ayon.
Flavio Guzman.
Angela Marina Zavala.
Hun Lin Vo.
Sharon Elizabeth Murray.
Jacqueline Carmen.
Maura Peralta Perez, summa cum laude.
Jose Carlos Fuentes, cum laude.
Renee Alexine Tan.
Christina Marie Armienti.
Edgar R. Rodriguez.
William Floyd Cabe II.
Tiffany Sue Tham.
Jose Luis Zuniga.
Eden David Ortner.
Mark Anthony Pineda.
Zen Hui O.
Rafael Alfonso Fregoso.
Morgan William Baker. John Richard Madsen.
Brian Tran, magna cum laude.
Bernice Rose, magna cum laude.
Nancy Edith Avila.
Carolina Yvette Diaz.
Karina Gutierrez Valenzuela. Robert Philip Cervantes. Richard Bustos Jr. Raul Acevedo.
Mekia Nahu Mao.
Andre Guzman.
Yanira Sosa.
Dennis Vu.
Rachel Salcido.
Nancy Y. Lamb.
Johanan Rogelio Ramos.
Renel Joseph Solis Puhawan.
Eduardo Francisco Artaza.
Jules Meningding Ferrer.
Robert Austin Caprine.
Crystal Cynthia Gomez.
Carla M. Saravia.
Eileen Lingad Lau.
Christopher R. Nobile.
Christiana Oxen.
Evelyn Hilda Lopez.
Karen Tamayo Yarena.
Deanna Nguyen.
Mason Martinez.
Sharon Jaldi.
Mary Beth Reese.
Christy Im.
Emily Che.
Mackenzie Marie Roberts.
Jasmine Rose Spees.
Jonathan Medina.
Joy Elizabeth Hurst, magna cum laude.
Govinda Parashar Gupta.
Brianna Aaron Lutheran, magna cum laude.
Brian Valdez Corretto.
Daniel Whitney Downs.
Andrew Phelan.
Christophel Stephen Manahutu.
Justin Nam.
Ezekiel Benjamin Ramon.
Michael Young.
Andy Ka Soon Wong.
Mark Edward Shaw, cum laude.
Gabriel Nakea Silva.
Andrew Michael Restivo.
D. Sun.
Pooja Kaur.
Raymond Yawin Wu.
Shuan Su.
Kingjing B.
Murong Hong. V.T. Tong Kao, summa cum laude. On Kang. Tianren Bian. Wen Yu Shi. Kara Wang. Wei Ni. Huwain Shu. Jai Chen. Lauro Eduardo Picasso Jr. Alberto Terrones. Stephen Anthony Sanchez. Bruce Jonathan Sanchez. Melissa Chanel Nguyen. John Lucas Season. Nicholas Bryce Moffett. Jackie Vong. This concludes the degree conferral for accounting. We will now begin the degree conferral for international business.
Stephen Michael Kreit.
Wendy Navarrete.
Ka Sing Chiang.
Susanna Huang. Liang Ma.
Hung Wai Lam.
Wesley Chu.
Gloria Tam.
Nicholas Deshaun Booker.
Xian Wen Ye. Huan Ting Hu. Zhendong Fan.
Dylan Smith.
Randall Carlton Huber Ford.
Andrew Chang.
Sharu Ansari.
Van Bao Nguyen.
Nazli Eileen Beiramoglu, summa cum laude.
Jonathan Von Toe.
Desiree Nicole Beimler.
Becky Kim.
Sin Jung Woo, cum laude.
Yin Cao.
Armin Yelian.
Quan Tang, summa cum laude.
John Enriquez.
Karen Vargas.
Robert James Singer III. Carlos Jose Cardenas.
Joshua Malachi Sutumoran.
Gabriel Gabby Katrib.
Sarah Ashley Chamberlain.
Ruben Alfredo Garcia.
Preston Eldrick Para.
Roman Lopez.
John Recto.
Irving Martinez.
Subasa Kishi.
John Lee.
Christine Victoria Sosa.
Jacob John Vega.
Big Shoy Briglia, cum laude.
Ricardo Reyes.
Patricia Jamie Ma.
Stephen Cheng.
Kevin Liet Kang.
Richard Hung.
Wei Zhang.
Edgardo Gomez.
Luis Rubio. Maria Antonio Navarro. Divine Grace Lau Katibing. Peter Cheng Yu Chiang. Chia Hong Chen. Udoni Letner Netter. Phyllis Ashley Sanders. Angie Tenenzian Aguirre. Janet Margarita Murillo. Flor Diaheli Torres. Denise Moron. Joseph Chunpoi Choi. Aaron Borboa. Sarah Elizabeth Perez. Naomi Altamirano. Alexandria Munoz. This concludes the degree conferral for international business. We will now begin the degree conferral for marketing management.
David James McKay, cum laude.
Dang Paddles Lee.
Matthew Robert Wilson.
Ileana Ortega.
Emanuela Ebonillo.
Stephanie Bernanchi.
Kanisha Chanel Howard.
Edward Ian Garcia.
Lawrence Paul Stevens II.
Marco Antonio Castillo.
Courtney Lene Green.
Paul Anthony Smith.
Victor Hugo Estrada.
Anna Marie Shropshire.
Mary Castañeda.
Jennifer Alexi Ortiz.
Sean Yang.
Leslie Martinez.
Arturo Ceballos Jr.
Jessica Jeanette Romo.
Viken Vaznian.
Jason Alba.
Zlatan Jovicic.
Choi Tuk Hugh.
Stephanie Ann Vasilakis.
Megan Elizabeth Trent.
Brittany Koska.
Lauren Eller.
Kate Moncrief.
Jillian Nicole Koka.
Chelsea Barbara Mordoff.
Lana Kude.
Elizabeth Caroline Laskin.
Kin Mo.
Jennifer Huen.
Diana Huang.
Sarah Ashley Leonard.
Matthew Stephen Schultz.
Amarani Rivera.
Nicole Tan.
Zuria Arevalos.
Billy Tu.
Katrina Capuno Dantic.
Brian Michael Agahan.
Edelmira Torres.
Maurice Ree.
Hugo Mia.
Omar Buenaventura.
Luis Carmona.
Nancy Boy.
Joseph Shirishi.
Aaron Kwok.
Daniel Rangel.
Stephen Huang.
Robert Evangelista.
Nushin Tasbichi. Daniel Christopher Grijalba.
Gabriela Rasso.
Christopher Baron DeLeon.
Ruben Huerta Gonzalez.
Anthony Fahim.
Efren Cornejo Jr.
Medina Tazjoy, magna cum laude.
Eric Cornejo.
Tina Trong.
Angelica Lauren Gonzalez.
Chi-Chen Wayne.
Wendy Curiel.
Megan Telkamp.
Omar Arcadia.
Christina Ramsey Baden.
Erica Lydia Gonzalez.
Matthew William Tallman.
John Daniel Morales.
Keith Alexander Reinick.
Alina Elizabeth Murillo.
Demont Brian Oliver Jr.
Ariana Alarcon.
Jessica Sophia Holgun.
Amanda Christine Cadena.
Joshua Robert Delatorre.
Ali Azemun.
Jesse Anthony Landeros.
Jonathan Duong.
Ryan Douglas Snow.
Deborah May Lee.
Jesus Hernandez Ball.
Kelsey Brooke Wilson.
Ferlian Sayut Katabagan.
Jessica Foley.
Rushali Kumanthi.
Amber Nicole Young.
Albert Garcia.
Annie Seikow, summa cum laude.
Justin Flores.
Stanley Manalo Rojas.
Corey Edward Armand.
Jonathan Paniagua.
Leonard Verzo Laksamana.
Aaron Philip Alaman.
John Zan.
Janice Camarena. Stephanie Lorraine Cortez.
Brian Edgardo Diaz.
Shirley Kim.
Philip Ing.
Jamie Lynn Byther.
Keely Ray Hoverson.
Ricardo Curiel Robles, cum laude.
Kyle Junes Demerit.
Stephen Tagawa.
Stephen Robert Kelly.
Leif Gerald Norman Olson.
Mehan Liu.
Jarell Natividad.
William Donghang Gao.
Christopher S. Lee.
Ray Ju.
Sarah Elizabeth Pollock.
Alex Mondine. Angeline Ma.
Derek Lim.
Ryan Kahn Carroll.
Charla McCrary.
Brian Matthew Crane.
Joshua Carl Jacobs.
Anthony Stephen Peterson.
Morgan Allison Stewart.
James Harrison Kurtz.
Brian John Martin Jr. Robert Paredes.
Robert Daniel Pilon Jr., cum laude.
Cody J. Moore. Stephen Gray. Matthew Yee. Joanna Hung. Justin Wong. Sanho Kim. Joseph Huang. John Paul Colo. Brandon Carlson. Yanzhen Li. Yu Gao. Lin Lin. Brandon Michael Taylor. Mallory Nicole Steenmeyer. Tatiana Anais Stahl.
And that concludes the degree conferral for Marketing Management. We will now begin the degree conferral for Management and Human Resources.
Daniel William Clark.
Taryn Alyssa Gunaji.
Kylie Danielle Baker.
Michelle Sue, magna cum laude.
Marcelino Pena III.
Alvin Tai.
Angelica Salazar.
Marissa Renee Ocello.
Christopher L. Tang.
Alexandria Bartolone.
Jennifer Teresa Gomez.
Cynthia Vanessa Uribe.
Ruben Michael Lima.
Erica Nicole Teraloja.
Shannon Nicole Lau.
Kyle Hodge.
Dana Lee Catone.
Wilmer Winston Montoya.
Robert Zavala Jr.
Myra Alejandra Alvarado.
Karina Nicole Trujillo.
Cece Yu.
Sarah Victoria Lockhart.
Pang Chun Susan Zhang.
Albanidia Placencia.
Yixin Shan.
Daniel Scott Lewis.
Melody Lau, magna cum laude.
Gabriela Hara. Teresa Leanne Martinez. Antonio Valadez.
Phoebe Janyao Zhou.
Teresa Gonzalez.
Kevin Luong.
Erica Melanie Goins.
Jessica Ye.
Liz Torres.
Phi Wen.
Christy Ling.
Carlos Aaron Silva.
Michael Huey.
Fernando Herrero Jr.
Garrett Michael Aurelio.
Gloria Esperanza Gamboa.
Wesley Kin Chung Chan.
Rebecca Michelle Galvan.
Marion C. Partida.
Sharif Daniel Thomas.
Brent Malotzi.
Kelly Victoria Valenzuela.
Nicole Martin. Amanda G. Owais.
Brandon Alexander Streck.
Yolan Basmagian.
Martin Bell.
Miguel Angel Cruz.
Logan Feldstein.
Joaquin Felipe de los Reyes Cajucum.
Sky Brittany Hessel.
Brittany Ann Hall.
Jessica Allison Hart.
Andrew Joseph Nicasio.
Sarah Shin.
Marga Rosalie Munson. Carly Amanda Bowl.
Jeffrey Allen Tillotson.
Michelle Irene Cernansky.
Sky Huang Liang Tiv.
Nicole Elizabeth Baker. Bridget Lopez.
Matthew Ibrahim Gerges.
Alejandra Gonzalez Bedoy.
Ronnie Mejia.
Lauren Kathleen Diskin.
Alice Huynh.
Josue Gonzalez.
Vanessa Diaz.
Michelle Lynn Vuong.
Jeremy Schiff,
Jasmine Orozco.
Rachel Enriquez,
Andy Aguiar.
Cesar Ordaz,
Aaron Ross DeFilippo. John Nathan Evans, summa cum laude.
Andres Garcia,
Alec Morse, cum laude.
Brandy Nicole Rodriguez,
Samuel Nicholas Gonzalez.
Sende Guadalupe Carrillo,
Amanda Lauren Bivens.
Juana Ariano,
Gregory Stephen Agajanian.
Cindy Serrano,
Allison Abaya Yambut.
Kimberly Salmaran,
Gilbert Victor Bugurin Bonara Jr.
Maricela Chavez,
Ivana Lee, cum laude.
Samantha Sandra Aparicio, cum laude,
Onisha Keedpool.
Maria de Jesus Arellano Cervantes,
Giovanni Rodriguez.
Jessica Tejeda,
Avo Kazanjian.
Evelyn Adele Weiland,
Jorge Andre Lopez.
Cheyenne Tanae Curlin,
Sheree Monet Logan.
Bethany Ann Williams, Kimberly Anahi Aramburo, summa cum laude, President Council Scholar, Kellogg Honors Scholar,
Melissa Amanda Gamma.
Anna Christina McGrath,
Heather Marie Arvidson.
Rachel Reese, cum laude,
Elaine Ann Rodriguez Valerio.
Sean Michael Holmes, Chad Jason Silva,
Shita Omaya Premarata, cum laude.
Julia Taitugi,
Genesis Alicia Rascon.
Brian Koji Hasegawa,
Robert Shin.
Simon Chor,
Vache Kachichian.
Michael Devin Zamora,
Patricia Amranand.
Jason Q,
Edgar Portillo.
Adriana Gonzalez,
Anthony Hung, cum laude.
Wesley William Watson,
Danisha Marie Woods.
Tiffany Michelle Wenzel,
Alan Arlie Teeter, magna cum laude.
Alan Nan,
Erin Amelia Hines.
Edwin Nicholas Molina,
Rebecca Starr Dowdy, cum laude.
Jennifer Regina Calderon,
Ronette Michelle Call.
Danielle Nicole Segala,
Heather Ashlyn Nakamura.
Joey Dua,
Stephanie K. McMillan.
James Hockett,
Chris Yang Lam.
Peter Hang,
Eric Rubalcaba.
Brian M. Bainke,
Ryan Wayne Paulson.
Charles Dillon Hover, cum laude,
Yvonne Chiang.
Adam Mark Tekanoff,
Jonathan Eric Cisneros.
Leonard Fu,
Samuel J. Kim.
David Shabab Unisi,
Angela Christine Bibele. Carolina Cuenca Charles. Maria Elena Garson.
Kui Wu, Erica Zuniga, Maritza Johanna Cuevas, Irving Navarro, Nancy Castillo, Maria Yolanda Carrillo, Natalie Marie Gonzaga, Fawn Smiley, magna cum laude, Jeffrey Villa, Dia Lore, Michael Paul Harris, Christine Marie Shaban. Jason Manuel Loya. Stephanie Susanna Sade, cum laude. Jessica Ho. Jose Junior Polito. Jasmine Danielle Stokes.
All right. Well, you beat me to my line. I was going to say, how about a big round of applause for the graduate class of 2014? I actually think you can do better than that. This concludes the College of Business Administration commencement ceremony. Congratulations to the class of 2014. Thank you for being with us. If the audience will please remain seated until the recessional, it would be appreciated. Thank you. Have a great day.